Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Traffic was hectic today. I have a little thing that plugs into the car lighter. It's like a surge strip. You plug your laptop charger in, the camera charger, and that apparently was not working. So I don't know what happened. So yeah, this video is coming at you guys a little bit later, but nonetheless, info is the same, maybe a little bit more refined, because we even have after hours trading here where Tesla stock went up 2.28%. In regular trading, the stock was up 8.96% today. Another huge day for Tesla, with Tesla closing at about $358 per share. This is getting out of hand, and some of you guys have apologized recently for, arguing with me, being mean to me in comment sections over the past, 6-12 months or so with some of my high price targets for Tesla by the end of this year. But some of this did seem inevitable, and I think we're just going through the inevitable as of right now. Yes, there is a bit of a short squeeze going on here, but the fundamental case is strong for Tesla. That's why this is not just a short squeeze. There's many other reasons why Tesla is also going higher, with Wall Street now taking a longer term perspective, if you will, looking at 2025 and the launch of robotaxis and more development of Optimus, and saying, hey, should we be pricing this into Tesla stock a little bit more? Not to mention favorable policies from the potential, Trump administration. We don't know exactly what these policies are going to be, but odds are they are going to be positive, as well as a Fed that is cutting rates, earnings season that is over with, and the expectation of a stronger economy. All of these things are great news for Tesla and have helped push Tesla stock higher in recent days. Well, what you're seeing now is that, yes, but a short squeeze as well. I've talked about this precipitously, if we can use that word, over the last couple of days. And let me give you some of the facts here. Short interest of free float sits at 2.84%. Okay, that might not sound high, but with a stock that's over $1 trillion market cap, that is very high. You currently have $25.48 billion sold short in Tesla, but if you consider the loss that short sellers took today, that was about $2.9 billion. So short sellers are really down about, let's get a final number here, about $28.4 billion total right now. That's the dollar amount that's currently sold short, and there is a lot of losses. Tesla stock is up 50% in really just the last month, and it becomes unsustainable when you're seeing these kind of losses, almost $3 billion worth of losses in any given day. And it looks like the momentum is probably not going to stop anytime soon. I mean, we just came off of another, including after hours, almost 12.5% move for Tesla. And you still have 79.3 million shares that are currently sold short. It looks like today you had about 950,000 shares or so that were covered. But 900,000 shares, almost a million shares, is nothing compared to 79 million. Now, at some point, this will slow down. At some point, you will get some consolidation. But it's tricky to kind of forecast when that will be when you have such a strong fundamental backdrop for Tesla. All of the things that I just mentioned that we've talked about for days now, you can also throw in there Tesla had really the best earnings of any of the big tech names that we can think of, right? Tesla earnings were a blowout. Elon's guidance for next year, 20 to 30% delivery growth, stands out as a blowout. That's faster than Microsoft's Azure growth. That's faster than Google's growth. Could be faster than Nvidia's growth. We'll have to see where things shake out. That's like 6 times faster than Apple's growth. I mean, there is a strong fundamental case from that perspective. So when does a short squeeze stop? It's hard to say, because I can make an argument that shorts should still be covering on their short positions. And I personally think that is likely going to continue. Now, we did have some news today, and let's go over that as well. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives has increased his Tesla price target to $400 per share from $300. He said, quote, "Today, We believe the Trump White House win will be a game changer for the autonomous and AI story for Tesla and Musk over the coming years. So Tesla is really benefiting from some of the expected favorable policies for Tesla. Now, I think there's also going to be other winners. I think Elon is going to be a big win for Tesla, just being so close to Trump over the coming years. But there will be other companies that will also benefit. Now, Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson said in a new interview, many people in America have driven EVs that frankly suck. I know because I drive all the competition. So I think the American public has been ill-served by underwhelming EVs. Now, I don't know who he's talking about here, but it can't be Tesla. That's for sure. Now, a Tesla bear said today, I was a longtime skeptic of Elon Musk and was wrong. The valuation doesn't make sense to me, never will, but it doesn't matter. Some things never make sense to me, like adults using Betty Boop license plate covers. Musk has beat the game and is now TBTF. I'd never short Tesla here. And that's probably a good thing, because Tesla stock could rally into the 500s, into the 600s, and you could still be like, hey, maybe this valuation doesn't make sense in the very near term, like the next 3 or 4 quarters. But what about the next 8 quarters? What about the next 12 quarters? That's 2 or 3 years out. You could start to even make a case for a Tesla valuation at $500 or $600 per share. And again, that's a big reason why I think Tesla shorts are likely going to continue to cover on their short positions. And now, in other news today, Tesla has now begun showing occupancy status at select third-party chargers in Europe, which is definitely helpful. Part of what we are seeing today that is helping Tesla stock to move higher is the option activity in Tesla. Over 2.5 million Tesla option contracts were traded by noon today, more than twice the usual pace. Quote, it's euphoric, said Steve Stosnik, chief strategist at Interactive Brokers. Tesla is by far the most active option at our shop. And speaking of option activity, today you had 714 different trades totaling $634.78 million with a positive order value of 81%. Now, this activity is from hedge funds and institutions. Now, what do we know? We know retail investors tend to be more bullish than big money. And if big money's 80+% positive in Tesla options, that's a really good sign of the stock continuing higher, because retail is probably even more bullish than that. Now, if we take a look at some of the most active options today, the 350 call expiring this Friday had 158,000 contracts that traded hands. That is the volume. Open interest at 33,000. And the $400 call, check this out, had 148,000 contracts that were bought that expire this Friday, like in just a couple of days. So there is definitely fuel on the fire to continue a gamma squeeze at current levels. You can even see some options that are now pretty deep in the money, like this 345 call had volume today of 125,000 and open interest of about 9,000. Now, we won't know what the open interest actually is until tomorrow to see how many of these contracts were actually closed out of, if they are swing trades, if they were day trades, what's going on with them. But it's pretty safe to say there's a lot of upside momentum in the options market. Now, let me break down exactly how this works, okay? Say you buy a call, let's make this simple, for the 360 call, okay? A call or a put, any option, gives you the option to buy or sell 100 shares at that price. So, little known knowledge to a lot of investors, but market makers take about 95% of the back end of options. Think about it like this. If you buy, we'll actually use, we'll stick with the 360, but maybe the 400 call would make more sense here. But let's say you bought these 360 calls at $1 a piece, $100 per contract. Let's say you bought 5 of them. That gives you the rights to Tesla stock at 360 and 500 shares at 360. So you profit if Tesla stock, let's say, is $400 by this Friday. Those options are going to be deep in the money. You're going to make a lot of money. Okay, great. If you're going to make money, someone else is going to lose on the back end of that option. Now, Wall Street, hedge funds and institutions, they don't want to take on that much risk. So that's why market makers take on that risk, because they really don't. See, what they do is if the stock goes above your strike to your break even, let's say your break even is 361. Okay, you paid $100, your break even is 361. Market makers will start to buy Tesla stock between, 550 or 350 50 cents and your break even, right? So they can profit a little bit if they have to give you the stock at 350, factoring in your break even. Hopefully that makes some sense. But as the stock goes higher, market makers have to buy more stock. The more options that you see coming in, the higher Tesla stock goes, the more of that squeeze you get. So it's not only short positions that are being covered on that is squeezing Tesla stock. It is most likely at this point, based on the data that I can see, an actual options short squeeze. And that makes things even crazier because you don't even have to have been short in Tesla to participate and drive the stock higher. You don't even need that much money to help drive the stock higher. Everyone trading these options, these calls specifically, are helping to drive Tesla stock higher. Now, from a more tactical or technical perspective, Tesla's RSI is at 80.68. So you're getting up there, but Tesla stock normally peaks out in the low 90s. Keep in mind back here in, July or June, July of 2023, the RSI hit about 91, which meant Tesla was the most overbought stock in the markets at the time. When Tesla gets overbought, it can stay overbought for a long time. And normally it gets into that 90s range before it actually settles out. That said, you can see over here on StockTwits, sentiment is bearish at 36. Yesterday, you were bearish at 56. So sentiment is more bearish today than it was just yesterday, which is kind of wild given the stock is up almost 12%, including the move that you've seen today in after hours. There's still a lot of bears on the sidelines that are in denial of this rally. And I think that's another reason why Tesla stock is likely going to move higher. Now, just to spare you guys some time here, give you the information you need and none of what you don't need. When you get a breakout like this, guys, you're probably going to new all-time highs. 300 was that critical level. You broke above that with ease. And you continued higher, another 12% today. Roughly 12%. The last time you broke $300 like this, and then seen a big day following, you ended up hitting a new all-time high. It would not surprise me if we get some good favorable news for Tesla, and Tesla almost overnight is at new all-time highs. Now, eventually this will chill out. You will see consolidation. You will see some downside. But between now and that consolidation, there is no telling where Tesla could go. If you look at something like an Apple, for an example, that the stock has done very well, the business has done little to nothing, and just replicate that to Tesla and say, hey, 2021 Apple was $175 stock. It went up from its all-time high at that point, about 32%. I mean, extrapolate that into Tesla, you're getting into some crazy numbers. But how crazy is it really factoring in Tesla's growth and factoring in the progress that you've seen with Tesla's business? Like, I mean, you could be looking at numbers that are in the ballpark here of $540 or so. Like, that would not be outrageous in my personal opinion. Now, would it surprise me to see a big down day at some point? Absolutely not. But nothing I see tells me that you have to see that anytime soon. It's just when the momentum falls, the stock will fall. But until that happens, I don't think you're there. Even if you look at metrics like volume, you can see where my cursor is. You had, and this is on the weekly candlestick chart, you were seeing volume in the billions pretty regularly. In 2023, you've seen volume in the billions or close to the billions in 2020. What did you have last week for volume? Tesla went up 29% and you only had 625 million in volume. So far this week, you've had 210 million in volume. Like, if we have a couple more good days with high volume, Tesla stock's going to go up a lot. And then you're going to get to that billion level. That tends to be where Tesla kind of peaks out at, where momentum just naturally has to come down because you're trading a billion shares a day. There's only 3.3 billion shares outstanding. That's trading 30% of the float. Like, that is what you call momentum, or a short squeeze, or in this case, a bit of a gamma squeeze as well. You can also see on the weekly RSI, you normally get to the high 80s, like 87 or so, before you see things that tend to kind of calm down and chill out. Today, you're at 71.44 on the RSI. So there's a lot of room for things to continue higher. Same with the MACD. The MACD normally gets to on the weekly about in the 40s, right? And you're only at 25. So there's nothing on a technical basis that suggests Tesla's rally has to stop again anytime soon. And you could soon be a $500+ stock. And I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people. This rally's been crazy to a lot of people. But I wouldn't take anything off the table here. With that said, let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.